Welcome to Dory Cote on Shamanism, a weekly podcast that explores one theme in shamanism throughout each month. Get comfortable, have a seat, and let's get started.
Welcome to episode 84, my podcast, which is entirely free to you, and I welcome you to sit back and listen to the wisdom that comes through me today.
It's nice to be back together again, Dory.
Yeah, thank you, Jill.
Today we're going to be talking about truth and how some things have the ring of truth. Can we start from the shamanic perspective of what is the difference between knowledge and truth?
Mm-hmm. Well, of course, this is my perspective on how shamanism, knowledge, and truth work together. However, I believe that many, if not most, shamanic practitioners would agree with me. Knowledge is, for the most part, something that is held in the physical aspect of the mind or the brain, or also in writing or in recordings, and is foundationally, we would hope, based on truth, but is not necessarily the way we align with our own individual truth. So let's say, for instance, let's give an example of a well-known writing. For instance, let's say the Bible as an example. That is a writing that is fraught with so many different interpretations. And so one might read the Bible and say, well, this is knowledge. This is information about the life of people who walked the earth many, many decades, many centuries ago. And we can look at it and say, well, this is knowledge about those lives and what they said and how they lived and all of that. And yet each one of us individually can read those words and discern from that our own truth about the words. And so there lies the difference. As I see it, knowledge is something that is common and available to all peoples, whereas truth is something that is very individual and is felt in the heart, not so much in the mind. And so when we align ourselves with our own truth about something that comes to us as a piece of knowledge, then we merge the knowledge and the truth so that we own it for ourselves. You know, we're living in a time right now, actually, where there are so many different perspectives on what is true and what is fake and what is make-believe and what really happened. And there are people who have recorded information. You know, you can watch a video of something and each person will see their own truth in that video. It isn't necessarily the same for each individual. And so that's how I see what truth is as opposed to knowledge. Knowledge is something that is concrete. It's held in the brain. It's 2 + 2 = 4. Although the truth is that there are some mathematicians who might argue with you that 2 + 2 does not actually equal 4. And that's because that's not their truth. From a shamanic journeying perspective, to go even more deeply with this, if I were to journey on a question, I might come back with the truth as it is told by my helping spirits in response to a question. And if there were 9 other people in the room also journeying on that same question, they may come back with a slightly different or completely different iteration of an answer to that question. And again, that's because truth is very individualized. It isn't universal. It is not the same as knowledge. It is our own heart, mind, and soul coming together to create our own individual truth about something that may come from a piece of knowledge and may not.
I love what you're saying here, particularly I want to go back to your mathematician example.
Mm-hmm.
I was a math major in college, and I loved geometry. And my senior year, I did a project on non-Euclidean geometry, and I found out that all the geometry that I had learned is not true when you're looking at the Earth as a sphere.
Uh-huh.
It's true when you look at the Earth as flat,
Yes.
but it's not relevant to space travel. It's not relevant to what you're saying is the perspective is what you take knowledge and you synthesize it with your heart, your mind, your soul for what's useful in your individual life. It's the perspective.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's for me the difference between knowledge and truth.
Pirandello has a play called Right You Are If You Think You Are, and it is looking at an event that happened from 8 different people's perspective.
Yes.
One makes complete sense.
And the same is so true with family structure. If you have siblings and you sit at a dinner table and you talk about an event in your family life, what is true for you as an individual may be seen through your siblings' eyes in a very different way. Their experience of it might be quite different. And you were all there at the same time, witnessing the same event, having the same conversation, but yet the way you synthesize your truth about that event is very individualized.
And between friends, a friend of mine and I are both thinking of moving, and people are saying to her, oh, please, please don't go, which only strengthens her resolve that it must be time to say goodbye. And people are saying that to me, and my truth is it might be time to take a second look and stay.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yes. Isn't that interesting?
So in a journey, on a shamanic journey, when you're being a practitioner on behalf of a client or for practitioners and your students, how do you tell the tricksters from truth?
Well, in shamanism, the primary way to be assured that you are not being taken in a different direction than what would be in the highest good of the client is to make sure that you are always working in harmony and with a known spirit helper, not some random spirit who shows up in the journey. So it is much like forging a very, very deep, trusting relationship with somebody who you would willingly surrender children, your animals, your life to. So if you have this deep partnership with a helping spirit, you come to know that helping spirits' energy, the way they communicate with you, the ways in which they use metaphors, and you can fall back 100% into the trust of the information that is coming through from them, or the healing power, or the wisdom that is coming through from them. If you have not forged that kind of relationship, an in-depth trusting relationship, then you are subject to the possibility of being tricked by a spirit who is not necessarily looking after your highest good or the highest good of your client, but rather some spirit who is not evolved, is, what we would call a middle world spirit, who is a trickster and is engaged in trying to get you to deliver information or healing or some wisdom that is really not going to be helpful or healing for yourself or for the client that you're working with, if you're working with a client. So the primary goal, as I see it as a teacher of shamanism, is always to ensure that my students are well versed in discerning when they are in another realm, such as the lower world or the upper world, and when they are truly in harmony and merged with a helping spirit with whom they have forged a lasting relationship. One other little piece that I've learned actually not that long ago, because I was exposed for the first time in the last year to a system of working in compassionate depossession with spirit helpers who aid to remove harmful spirits that might be residing in a human's energy body. And, this work is taught to many kinds of people who aren't necessarily deeply versed in understanding how to merge and become one with long-term helping spirits. So this teaching of compassionate depossession helps people discern that they are not being tricked by some spirit who is posing as a helping spirit that you perhaps know. Let's say, for instance, you work with the spirit of rabbit, and you have worked with the spirit of rabbit for, a couple of years, and you trust the spirit of rabbit, but you haven't necessarily had the best possible training, and you don't journey regularly, and you haven't worked with a lot of clients. You could move into doing something like curse removal or compassionate possession, and so you think you're working with rabbit, but it really isn't rabbit. So the trick, as I'm trying to get to here, is that what you can do when you literally vet your helping spirits by asking them some questions and asking them to make you laugh or make you smile, because your true helping spirit will know exactly how to make you laugh because they have that deep relationship with you. And that's one little trick that people can use if they ever have a question. Is this really my helping spirit, or why is my helping spirit showing up today as a cartoon character when usually he or she shows up, in a more embodied kind of state? Well, sometimes helping spirits do show up in a different form, and that's okay because they don't really have form. They're taking on whatever form we trust is who they are. Now all of a sudden your helping spirit shows up in some different form. If you want to make sure that that is truly your helping spirit, ask them, first of all, are you so-and-so? And if they say yes, then say, okay, great. Show me or tell me something that will make me laugh. And only that helping spirit will know how to do that. And when they do that, then you really have connected with your true helping spirit.
That's fascinating. It's like asking them to show your true colors.
Yes.
Show me your true colors.
Exactly. Show me your true colors. And are you really the person that I am in relationship with, or are you a trickster?
Mm-hmm. Kind of a shamanic security question.
Exactly. Show me your password.
And the other metaphor that came as I was listening to you is Anne Sullivan and Helen Keller.
Yes.
So we go in like Helen Keller, blind to, not having our full senses in these worlds and shamanic journeys.
Yes.
And we need a guide who has the full senses to teach us, show us. And she fought so long to and tested that relationship to her teacher so long, but it made it all the stronger.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
It's inspiring that our guides don't give up on us when we do that kind of fighting.
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, a true helping spirit would be truly happy that you're asking them to prove that they are who they are. They wouldn't be insulted by that. And so again, if you get an insulted kind of response from a spirit, then that might tell you that you really are not working with your personal helping spirit, that there is a trickster there.
Well, it's showing your true colors.
Absolutely.
So Dory, when one is in the beginning stages of learning to journey, and we go on a journey to find our power animals. So we found our guides. We're beginning to learn the different worlds we're in. one of the security question ways that I had been taught was a power animal will show itself to you 3 times. And if it does, then you know that it's your power animal. Is that true, or are there other ways to know that a power animal is adopting you to work with?
Yes, that's a great question, because I've heard that question from other students from time to time. I can tell you that when you're learning to journey and you're just meeting your power animal for the first time, the most important thing to discern is that this is truly your power animal. And most of the time, if you use all of your senses, if you allow yourself to see, if you're somebody who sees in a journey or hears or just has a sense of knowing, whatever animal shows up for you is going to affirm your question in some way or another. They're going to either pick you up and take you for a ride, or they're going to dance a happy dance, or they're going to wink at you, or they're going to take you running, or acknowledge in some way that they truly are your power animal. And so I always tell students who are learning, if you get to the lower world and there are 6 or 7 different animals that you're seeing, how are you going to know which one is your power animal? And again, the important question is to continue repeating the question within the context of the journey. You're in the journey, and so you can dialogue with these beings. And you just keep asking, which one of you is my power animal? I need some affirmation about which one is my power animal. And somehow they will act out some way of your coming to know with some assurance, some degree of assurance that one in particular is your power animal. One of them might step forward, or the others might leave, or one of them will pick you up, like I said before, or one of them will run with you or take you flying, or they'll exhibit some means of demonstrating for you that they are in fact your power animal. Seeing a power animal 3 times comes into play when you are doing a power animal retrieval for someone else. When you're actually stepping into the role of a shamanic practitioner and you're doing a healing ceremony for someone and bringing back a power animal for them to bring back power. Then in that instance, you want to see that animal 3 times. So let's say, for instance, I'm in a journey and I'm asking, please help me find a power animal that is coming back to this person to be of service to them. And I see an elephant off in a distance, and it's just walking. And then I see that elephant again up close, and all I see is its tail. And then a 3rd time I see the eye of the elephant up close. Then I've seen that elephant 3 times, and that's assurance to me that this is truly the power animal that is coming back for this client. And that's where the seeing it 3 times counts. And I want to say that to some extent, as shamanism has evolved, that even that has taken a bit of a shift. It used to be pretty commonly held that if you were doing that kind of a journey for someone, a power animal retrieval, that you really would have to see that animal 3 times. But in fact, in practice, most of the time, people just do the journey, ask to be shown a power animal who is ready to come back to be of service to this person on whose behalf you're working. And whichever power animal shows up is the one that you bring back. And if there's more than one that shows up, you do the same kind of thing you do when you're journeying for yourself to the lower world. You ask, which one of you is the power animal who is coming back for this person? And you wait for some means of affirmation about which one is the correct one.
Fascinating. What you're talking about is discerning the truth for someone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's about discerning the truth for someone else. I have to say, I just had this experience yesterday of doing a soul retrieval for someone from a distance, someone I've never met. And, generally I have the client be in a very still kind of place, sitting in a chair or lying down somewhere and, focusing on their breathing and opening their heart while I do the soul retrieval. And as you know, oftentimes with a soul retrieval, a power animal also shows up and wants to come back. And so this particular person who I was working with yesterday, it was a gorgeous day in New England, and she went and floated in her pool, her backyard pool, while I was doing the soul retrieval and power animal retrieval. So she was there the whole time in water. And I brought back the soul essences, and as it happens, just as I was coming back from the journey, a shark jumped into the journey and said, "Take me back." So I brought this power animal, this shark, back to her. And, not having any knowledge whatsoever of, why shark, why now. And so as we're speaking on the phone, she's, unbeknownst to me, she's talking from a Bluetooth. She is still in the pool as I'm talking to her. And she interrupts me when I tell her about the power animal. And she says, "I'm looking over to my neighbor's backyard. And I swear this wasn't there earlier today. There is a floaty in their pool, and it's a blown up shark."
Wow.
So there was the affirmation for her that this truly is her power animal.
Mm-hmm.
So, what happens is the truth that you see in the journey of what the animal is that you're bringing back for someone else ends up being affirmed by the client through what they see and hear and experience after you have completed the work.
Yeah, I love that. That I was going to say that after we are responsible for discerning what's true for the client is responsible for taking that as their truth or not.
Exactly. And if they choose not to, then so be it. But I have found through years of experience that when somebody adopts in their heart the truth that this animal spirit truly is with them and is helping them and wanting to be of service to them, that spirit animal will show up for them in some uncanny ways.
And we also don't always know what they're going to do with the truth or what it means. So we have to be careful not to put our spin on what it means.
Absolutely.
Like if you got the message, "Please stay," between me and my friend, one is, with friends saying, don't go.
Right.
For one of us, it means, "Oh, this is definitely time for me to go." And for the other one of us, it's take a look and stay.
Take a look and maybe you shouldn't go. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's your own truth.
Yeah. So the best Helen Keller and Sullivans in the world for us, we still need to find our own steps.
Absolutely.
Mm. Mm. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome.
We've tripped over a couple of things I just want to capture. I'd love to say more in a future one about forging trusting relationships.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lovely phrase you brought up. And also would love to hear more about compassionate depossession.
Mm-hmm. I would be happy to talk more about each of those topics. I think they would be great for some future recordings. I would be delighted to do that.
Do you have anything else on the subject of the ring of truth that you'd like to say now?
I would just like to end by saying, it's really important for individuals to take responsibility for their own truth and not be swayed by other people's truth, to look in your own heart and discern for yourself what is true for you about anything that you are reading, anything that you are hearing, anything that you are observing. And don't be afraid of your own truth. Whatever it is what it is, and be okay with it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for listening to Dory Cote on Shamanism. We'd love to hear your thoughts, stories, reactions, and questions. Come on over to dorycote.com and join the conversation. And tune in next week for more on this subject, or next month for a new subject. You can subscribe to this podcast in iTunes or sign up on dorycote.com to receive notices when the podcasts are posted. That's Dory, D-O-R-Y, and Cote, C-O-T-E.com. Drumming and rattling by Dory Cote and Terry Morgan. Technical assistance and audio production by JillHackett.com. And this is Susan Savelle, wishing you many blessings in your life. We hope to have you join us next time.